Hello, Roadman Kenny Roda here with you, and that's much better, right? I can't believe I was worried about Rutgers. The spread was only 15 points in this game today, and I thought, you know what, Rutgers, the way they played Michigan last week, low-scoring game, that their defense would be better. The Buckeyes' defense isn't good, so I thought Rutgers would get at least 20 points in this game. They did not, but the offense exploded today. C.J. Stroud with a week's rest. The shoulder looked better. He looked better. Ryan Day called better plays. Trevion Henderson, before he went out with an injury, was dominant again. And the defense, their best game by far this season against a decent opponent. And let's put the numbers up there. The Buckeyes get the win today on the road at Rutgers, 59-13. Next up for the 11th ranked Buckeyes, and they're 11th ranked today, but they'll move up in the standings. Notre Dame lost today. We may see some other movement there in the top 10. So they'll get ready for their next game, which is at home against Maryland. So that's what lies ahead. That's what went down today for the Buckeyes. Let's bring in our good buddy, Josh Paloha from Waiting for Next Year. And Josh, I was concerned about this game because of the Buckeyes defense. I thought the offense would score enough points to win, but I didn't know what to expect from the Buckeyes defense. And they came out today. They thwarted a faked punt on the first possession, right? Early in the game, they stopped Rutgers on a 4th and short situation. Had, I think, 3 interceptions in the game and probably played their most consistent game. Were you at all concerned about this game before it started?
I wasn't concerned with the overall score, but I figured it would be a lot closer than it usually. I mean, Ohio State's dominated Rutgers ever since they joined the Big Ten. I did not see this. I did not see this outcome. The story. I did not see the story in margin happening. I saw the outcome. I didn't see the margin.
I figured they would win by 2 touchdowns and just miss covering, right? I thought it would be like 34-20. That's what I was expecting. And they dominated the entire first half, Josh. I mean, 395 yards in the first half alone. And what they put up points-wise? 45 at the half, whatever it was. So it was as an impressive performance as we've seen from C.J. Stroud in these areas. A, accuracy. B, zip on the football, RPMs, if you will. C, he ran the football a few times, just enough, right, to keep them honest. And D, his decisiveness and decision-making, I thought were the best he's showed so far this year. How much did that rest help him, not only physically, Josh, but maybe mentally?
I feel like that rest probably helped him more than we thought it would. I know even during fall camp, they were giving him rest days and they were like, oh no, it's just rest. But I seriously think that his shoulder has been messed up since fall camp. So giving him like a week and a half off, I think did him a lot more good. And then, I mean, mentally, he just seemed a lot more confident. Yeah, I mean, how many overthrows did he have today? 0? I don't think he had an overthrow.
I didn't count one, and that's the first. Now, granted, what are they now? 4-0, 4-1, 2-1, or what is it? 4-1. Slow down, Ken. Slow the offense down. Get to the line of scrimmage. 4-1 overall. 2-0 in the Big Ten. Okay, so that means they've played 5. He's played in 4 of the 5, and this was the first game that I did count an overthrow today by him.
Yeah, and I mean that offense. You could say that the scoring margin was a lot closer than it was to. It was 45-7.5. The game was over midway through the second quarter. So 52-13, and that doesn't even tell the whole story. I mean, they were, if the first teamers played all game, it's a lot bigger than 52-13. I'm just very impressed with the offense. The only thing I'm worried about is Trevion Henderson went down in the second quarter and didn't come back. I hope that's just precautionary.
Right.
But, I mean, even his first run of the game, 44 yards. Boom. It's unreal just how good he is.
And the game was over when it was 14-0, right? The fake punt did not work. Buckeyes sniffed that out. Great job by the special teams. They come down, they score. I love the way Ryan Day started the game. A short pass to Jeremy Ruckert. It only picked up 4 yards, but it set the tone for using the tight end, throwing to him and in the blocking scheme, because he had a huge block on the next play, which was Henderson's 44-yard touchdown run. But I like that that's how they got C.J. Stroud going today. Just a simple, short 4-yard pass. He completed it. Okay, it's out of the way. Then Henderson takes it in, so you relax. We all exhale. It's 7-0. And then, boom, the pick 6 happens. Denzel Burke, who's emerging along with Henderson as the two best freshmen, obviously, in this class. And a lot of them are playing, which I'm loving right now. And at 14-0, I waited till the third quarter just to make sure. But at 14-0, you could have went Dandy Don Meredith. Turn out the lights, the party's over. Could have started singing it then because it was over at that time. And again, most complete game, offense, defense, special teams by the Buckeyes, coaches as well as players, to Josh. So how much more confidence do you have in this Buckeyes team? Because last week didn't count. 59-7 over Akron doesn't count. That's a scrimmage. Rutgers was supposed to be a decent team. They play them at their place, right? And they beat them soundly today. So how much more confidence do you have, and how much more, motivation and momentum do you think the Buckeyes have going into next week?
First off, it's Rutgers, but they're an average Big Ten team. They're better than they used to be with Greg Schiano.
Right.
And it's also worth mentioning that Rutgers lost to Michigan last week, 20-13.
Correct.
So if you think Michigan's a top 25 team, which they are, they're undefeated.
Yep.
Rutgers hung with Michigan, and against Ohio State at home, the game was over in 1.5 quarters in. So you can say, yes, it's Rutgers, but Ohio State, like you said, there were no weaknesses today. I mean, Jeremy Rucker, tight end, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, they were just blowing by guys. They would catch the ball in the flat and just blow by guys. CJ Stroud looked good. The defense looked good. I think even you can say it's Rutgers all you want, but the confidence boost that those players had to have or have to have now going into Maryland, even though Maryland just got spanked by Iowa last night, it has to be, Rutgers or not, it's a Big Ten opponent, and you just dominate them on their home turf. So
yeah, you went on the road and did that. That to me was important. And it was also important for me that CJ Stroud left this game feeling confident. The Buckeyes defense left this game feeling more confident. They had 3 picks today. Now, they only had 1 sack. Tyleek Williams, another true freshman. Every time he plays, he seems to get a sack or he's around the football, tackle for a loss. So they did create some turnovers and had 4 fourth-down stops, which is kind of like a turnover, right? But only 1 sack today. So the pressure that was there last week against Akron, 9 sacks, only 1 today. So if you're nitpicking and looking for what's wrong or maybe where the concern is, it's with the pass rush. Is that fair to say going into next week with Tagovailoa as the quarterback, or no?
I guess it's fair, but we're also, like we've discussed this multiple times, we had the Bosas and then Chase Young. It's going to be hard to find generational talents like that. So the pass rush, it would be nice if they got to the quarterback more often. But I guess quarterback hurries are more important than quarterback sacks for this team. I guess I'd put it that way. It's important that they make the quarterback not feel comfortable in the pocket more than sacking. I mean, obviously, sacks the home run, but if you could just hit a double and make the quarterback feel less comfortable in the pocket. I mean, the way these cornerbacks are playing, Ryan Watts and Denzel Burke, the more they play, they're both freshmen. So the more they play, the more they get their feet under them. I'm very excited about this defensive backfield and how young they are.
14, 29, 10, right? The Hickman, the Rocket,
yes.
You're seeing him around the football. Denzel Burke with the pick 6. Martinez had a pick 6. And so the secondary, and me personally, Josh, here's what I think Ryan Day did. This is just, I have no inside information on this. It's just an observation, right? When you recruit players and they stay in your program and they move up the class ladder from freshman to sophomore to junior to senior, right? And if they don't leave early for the NFL, if they're a starter or close to being a starter, you're loyal to them and you give them every chance to fail, right? And I think the start of this season, that's exactly what Ryan Day did. He went with more upperclassmen, maybe on the defensive side of the ball, and said, all right, it's your job to lose. And he realized after 3 games that, okay, some of them need to lose their job because our freshmen or redshirt freshmen that we have are better than them. And I owe it to this entire team, just not to that individual or, those seniors or those juniors, just to put them out there, even though they're hurting the team. And I think that's what happened. And they made the adjustments, and they've outscored the last two opponents 111-20. Granted, it was Akron and Rutgers. So there's still some doubt in my mind. I'll be honest with you. I need to see this against Penn State. I need to see this against Michigan State. Heck, I need to see it against Indiana on the road, even though Indiana isn't as good as they were advertised at the beginning of this year. But I think that's what Ryan Day did, and he did the same with his coaching staff. He gave Kerry Combs the opportunity again, right? And it failed. Who's the new guy? Who's the guy on the field calling the defensive plays now?
Matt Barnes. He was the special teams coach before Kerry Coombs came back, and then Kerry Coombs came back, and now he's basically a defensive coordinator. Right. That's not his technical. It's not his label, I guess you'd say, but for the rest of the
it is now. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
After that, Kerry Combs, he can stay up in the press box and just coach the defensive backs. That's what he was good at. You got to know your strengths and your weaknesses, man. Like, you got to know what you're good at. Romeo Crennel, fantastic defensive coordinator, not a good head football coach, right?
Yes.
Eric Mangini, same thing. Josh McDaniels in New England.
Freddie Kitchens.
Freddie K. There you go. Whoop-de-hell, right? Absolutely. Got to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And for Kerry, go work with the D-backs, man.
Yes.
Get paid $1 million, whether you're the defensive coordinator or the defensive backs coach. So collect your money either way. Do what you do best. And maybe we're seeing that in the secondary where he's focusing just on that. And Matt Barnes now is the guy calling the plays.
Yeah, Matt Barnes has had one hell of a debut. 2 games. I mean, Akron and Rutgers are not. The opponents are what's given to him, and his defense is dominated. So he's done all he could do. Yeah. And back to that position thing, I think part of it too is that you have to remember if the guys are seniors, they are not technically Ryan Day's guys. They're Urban Meyer's guys.
Okay.
So just like the NFL GM thing where you always talk about, are they his guys? Right. Ryan Day might just be leaning toward his guys. Maybe he doesn't trust, the guys that he recruited or at least helped recruit. Maybe if it's a close position group, he's going to go with a younger guy that's his guy.
And I'm okay with that because they're making plays. I wrote the names down again. C.J. Stroud, redshirt freshman. Trevion Henderson, freshman. Denzel Burke, freshman. JTT, freshman. Tyleek Williams, freshman. Jack Sawyer, freshman, right? And there's a couple of other redshirt freshmen and true freshmen that are playing and starting to make some plays. Now, they had a defensive breakdown on the long touchdown. Okay, so you still have to look at that on film. Was it a communication thing? Was it a bad defensive call? Was somebody just out of position? You got to look at that because when you play the Penn States, the Michigan States, the Michigans, you can't afford to have that type of a breakdown, right? And again, the lack of pressure on the quarterback. Really, the only negatives, if I wanted to throw one more negative in there, maybe the depth at linebacker is somewhat concerning, having lost 2 guys within the last 2 weeks. The kid, I can't even pronounce his name, from USC. I guess he's eligible now.
But he came out for warm-ups, tried to give it a go, and then didn't dress. So he's hurt as well.
Pagalia.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce it.
Yeah, something. But just look it up, folks. We can't pronounce it. But look it up, and he may be playing next week against Maryland, right? At linebacker, get some snaps.
And to the depth at linebacker part, 2 walk-ons were playing at linebacker, and the 2 linebacker set in the third quarter. So even in the blowout, if two walk-ons are playing in the third quarter, that basically it perfectly explains how little depth they have at that position.
Right. And Steele Chambers is one of the best linebackers on the team, and he was a running back last year. So that's where my other concern is.
That too.
Along with Trevion Henderson. Did you hear what the injury was? Because when you don't get your helmet back, that's usually a head injury or possible concussion. That was my, gut feeling on it. Do you know anything else, other than just us guessing?
I haven't been on Twitter much since since the third quarter-ish, but I know at halftime Ryan Day said something about that. It wasn't that big of a deal. Then again, he could just be downplaying it. I don't know.
Right.
But I feel like if it was like a super severe injury, he wouldn't have even said that. It's not like he'd lie and just like say it's not that big of a deal and then it'd be a severe injury. So
right.
I hope it's just precautionary. I mean, they had, like we said, the game was won in the second quarter. There's no, it's not like he's like going to compete for a Heisman this year. You didn't need him to come back. Just keep him healthy.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, he has to dominate with a one-loss Ohio State team. And then
but is there a clear-cut Heisman favorite right now? No. And if he's the bell cow the rest of the way, let's never say never. Even though I said the Buckeyes will not win a national championship this year, I hope they make me eat my words on that. But never say never. Here's what 11 Warriors sent out in a little story during the game. On a second down carry late in the first quarter of Saturday's matchup with Rutgers, Trevion Henderson absorbed a hard hit and immediately came out of the game. Henderson was tended to by trainers on the bench before heading into the medical tent, but the true freshman eventually returned to the sideline without his helmet. And Ryan Day then was asked about it at halftime. He should be fine. He just got banged up a little bit, whatever that means. So hopefully it's nothing serious. Here's the good news. Let's say he did get dinged, hit in the head. And if they want to be extra careful, can probably beat Maryland without him next week. And then you have the bye week before you go on the road then to Indiana. So something worth monitoring this next week going into the Maryland game. So here's the other question, Josh. Where the heck are you? You're outside. You're doing this post-game show. It looks like you're out in the woods camping somewhere in the hills of Tennessee or something. Where are you at?
I'm in my aunt and uncle's backyard in good old Medina, Ohio. I wish I was in Gatlinburg, but I'm just in Medina.
You should have
not too far from you.
You should have said Yellowstone, man. Everybody,
true.
Look at that. Yeah.
Although, it's getting dark quick and the bugs are biting me bad. But hey, we're dealing with the elements.
Come on, you got to be Fausto Carmona. You got to play through it, man. You got to ignore the midges, ignore the mosquitoes.
Roberto Hernandez. There's no Fausto Carmona anymore. His name's Roberto Hernandez, isn't it?
Is it Roberto Hernandez? I don't know what the heck his name is. He changed it. Yeah. Josh Paloa joining us here on the Buckeyes post-game show. Waitingfornextyear.com is the website that he is a part of, and we appreciate him joining us each and every week talking Buckeyes football. Trevion Henderson, you see his numbers. Stroud, you see his numbers. How about Chris Olave? And let me go and throw one more little banner up there across the bottom. Chris Olave with 2 grabs today for touchdowns, numbers 26 and 27 in his career, Josh. 3rd all-time in the history of The Ohio State University in touchdown catches, behind only David Boston, 34, Devin Smith, 30. How about that? Pretty impressive, isn't it?
One heck of a game after didn't really do much the last 2 games. But then again, today he proved why he's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick in April. It just, his playmaking, his speed. I still don't get how he scored that one touchdown. He was like going toward the sideline. I was like, oh, okay, that should be a good catch and run. And then he scored the It's like I said, it's Rutgers.
True.
But it's clear that him and Garrett Wilson. I mean, CJ Stroud, just throw the ball 5 yards and they'll run the other 95. That's
it. That's all you got to do. Distribute the football. Don't make mistakes. And this team will end up back in the Big Ten championship game. That's the way I see this after 5 games now at 4-1 overall and 2-0 in the Big Ten. And right now, as I'm looking at the Big Ten standings, Josh, let's see. Buckeyes are 2-0. Michigan's 2-0. Penn State's playing right about now. They're 1-0. Iowa, they're 2-0, but they're on the other side. You might meet them in the Big Ten championship game. Wisconsin sucks. Let's see here. Michigan State's 2-0. They're coming up here in a little bit, along with that Penn State game coming up in a little bit. So Buckeyes still in the thick of things in the Big Ten, which is good. And if you look at the scoreboard today, how about, who's the best team in the state of Ohio? Is it the Ohio State Buckeyes or is it the Cincinnati Bearcats, who were victorious today over Notre Dame convincingly, 24-13. They're undefeated on the season and ranked number 7. What about the Bearcats in Cincinnati?
Man, 1, Luke Fickell has one hell of a team down in Cincinnati.
Yep.
2, if Cincinnati's undefeated and Ohio State is a 1-loss Big Ten champion and there's only 1 spot left in the playoff.
Yeah.
Wow. I honestly don't know. What do you do? I mean, Cincinnati winning at Notre Dame, a top 10 win, is one heck of a win. Their quarterback's a Heisman contender. Luke Fickell's earning himself a lot of money this season. That's for sure.
Think about this, because you have to hope that Alabama runs the table and beats Georgia, right? Because if Georgia wins, they're taking both Alabama and Georgia more than likely if Alabama only has one loss. So that's 2 teams in the playoff, right? Then, okay, Oregon beat Ohio State. If they win the Pac-12, they're in line. That's the 3rd team, in my opinion. Then it comes down to the Big Ten champion, Cincinnati, or the Big 12 champion, right? So you want Alabama to win outright. So that opens up an extra spot. If Oregon, they were losing, but they came back to take the lead today on Stanford. So, if they win out, they're in. So it would be Bama and Oregon, in my opinion, for sure, in the 4-team playoff. And then it would come down to Oklahoma, more than likely, in the Big 12, Cincinnati, and then whoever wins the Big 10. Fair assessment?
Yeah, Oklahoma hasn't I mean, I guess non-Ohio State fans can say the same thing about the Buckeyes. Oklahoma has not been impressive so far this year.
Have they lost?
I don't know. Have they?
No.
I honestly don't know. They also lost to Tulane, though.
I understand. I'm just saying, though, if they're undefeated and they were a preseason top 5 team, right, Josh? Then, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt, having not lost a game and then gone through. And, if you run the table and you win your conference championship and you're in a Power 5 conference, right? Then don't you deserve to be one of the 4 teams that end up getting the opportunity
absolutely.
to play?
But, and we have to, the ACC is basically, unless some miracle happens where all these teams lose, the ACC is already out of the playoff 4 weeks into the season, 5 weeks, whatever week we are.
And we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it helps out Ohio State, so I'm fine with it. But it's just crazy that the ACC is already out when they had Clemson and Miami as top 15 teams.
And I wasn't even counting Ohio State as a potential, Final Four team, if you will, somebody from the Big Ten. But that Big Ten team either has to be Ohio State with 1 loss or somebody that's undefeated. I don't think they'll take anybody else with 1 loss in the Big Ten. Do you agree? If Ohio State's only loss is Oregon, right?
Yes.
And they run the table, they won't take anybody else with 1 loss in the Big Ten but the Buckeyes.
No, rather because it's Ohio State. They've already proven that they can compete with the big boys. And 2, like you said, their only loss was to Oregon, who's a top 5 team right now. Right. So, and I mean, somehow it would have to be like, I'm trying to think of even how it would be a 1-loss Big Ten team.
Yeah. You got fans. Look at that. Fans are looking.
In my mind.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Hey, we got this here from Adam Cerny. He says, Kenny and Josh, just so you know, Stanford and Oregon are going into overtime. So that, now you have to look at those things if you're a Buckeye fan. You want Oregon to preferably lose 2 so there's no debate, right? Hey, you got some lights there, some added lighting there. Now, they turned the floodlights on.
The Gatlinburg, Tennessee, we have lights now.
There you go. Or torches, tiki torches, lighting it up for you. Adam, thank you for sending us that note. So they're going to overtime. Go Stanford. Wow. Buckeye fans are Stanford fans in overtime. Thank you for that. Here's another observation from somebody, Josh. That's a real official looking microphone, Pookie.
That's my uncle, who I was just down in his basement with, watching the Ohio State game.
All right, help me with the Pookie part there. Come on, Pookie. What's up with the Pookie part?
It's a family nickname that was given to me by my aunt, and now I'm never going to live it down because now it's podcast official.
Absolutely, and I will not call you anything but Pookie the rest of your life. It's a given. Glad to be talking Buckeyes with you here on the Buckeyes postgame show. Kenny Roda along with Pookie, and we're breaking down the Buckeyes win.
Damn it! What have I done?
Well, Buckeyes win over Rutgers 59-13. Next up for the Buckeyes, we said Maryland, which shouldn't take anybody lightly. And I like that today, too. I like that they were focused, Josh. They came out, that business-like attitude and everything. They could have taken them lightly, but I think the fact that CJ didn't play last game and the previous game he didn't play his best, the defense, a lot of hate being thrown at them, myself included in that. So I love the approach. Can they do that 2 weeks in a row after a big win? for them over Rutgers in the Big Ten and not take Maryland lightly next week, you think, or no?
Maryland on Friday, or last night, 7 turnovers.
Yeah.
It's hard to not take them lightly now, honestly.
I know. That's what I mean. So this is where the coaching comes in, right?
Yes. You just have to say, like Kevin Stefanski does after every Browns win, you're 0-0. Let's go win next week. Doesn't matter who the opponent. And Ohio State's at a point now where they can't just beat teams. They have to blow out the teams that they should blow out. You have to prove a point. If you barely beat Maryland, they're a one-loss team now, but if you barely beat a bad team,
right,
the college football guys are going to say Ohio State barely beat this team and they lost to Oregon. So you have to go not only win games, but you have to dominate games as much as possible.
Yeah, they've got to blow everybody out from here on out and make it convincing that, hey, that they stubbed their toe early because they were playing so many freshmen. Their quarterback was young and he wasn't 100% at the time. So you've got to try and blow everybody out by like 4 touchdowns if you can to impress the voters, to get them back on your side. So we'll see what happens there next week with Maryland. What do you make of Michigan today? Like you said earlier in this podcast, they struggled to beat this same Rutgers team last week in Ann Arbor. They held on for the victory. Today, they blow out Wisconsin. Is Michigan worthy of being a top 15 team, or is Wisconsin at 1-3 and 0-2 in the Big Ten just that bad this year? Because that's the first time Michigan's won in Camp Randall in many, many years.
It's early October. I feel like we had this discussion with Michigan in early October every year.
Okay.
And then they struggle in the Big Ten. Not in the Big Ten. I guess they struggle against the Penn States, Ohio States.
Right.
Not the Wisconsins of the world, because they obviously just beat them. But, until Michigan proves that they can compete with the big boys, they're Michigan. And it's Jim Harbaugh's Michigan, which, like I said, it's hard to speak highly of Michigan when they haven't proven anything outside of September and early October.
So Michigan, let's see what they do against Michigan State, Penn State, right?
Yeah. Do they play? I don't know if they play Penn State or not. I'm assuming they do.
They do. It's on the same side. They're in the same
they're in the same
division.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
it's
true.
not the crossover. Let's see. I'm trying to see. I don't have the schedule for big game. There's a big game next week. I think it's Penn State and Iowa.
Yes.
Next week, right?
I think it's at Iowa. It's 4 versus 5. So that would be a huge game.
Yeah. In that game, you want Penn State to win. So Iowa has 1 loss, right? Or no, do you want Iowa to win? So they're undefeated when you beat them in the Big Ten if you're the Buckeyes. I think maybe that's the better way of looking at it. You want a higher ranked Iowa, undefeated Iowa team that you would play, right, in the Big Ten championship game. You'll beat Penn State if you're the Buckeyes, and we're talking about this hypothetically to get to the Big Ten championship game, right? Buckeyes run the table, which includes a win over Penn State. So then you would play an undefeated Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. That would be more impressive to the voters, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but then again, I don't think – I know I said blowout wins are important now because they lost one. Yeah. But I think if Ohio State is a one-loss Big Ten team, the only thing that will hold them out, possibly, is Cincinnati, and that will have nothing to do with Ohio State's resume. It'll just be Cincinnati's undefeated, Ohio State's not. Any other time, Ohio State as a one-loss Big Ten champion, I think they get over everyone else, if that makes sense.
Okay, all right. Shout out to some of the people checking us out today here on the Buckeyes postgame show. David Richardson sent us this message. Not very impressed with that team up north. The best. They bested a bad Wisconsin team with no run game today. So that's from David Richardson. Dale Milano is watching us today. What's up, Dale? We appreciate that very much. Brad Hojastik always checks us out each and every Saturday. Brad, what's going on? OHIO. Another message here from David says, in my opinion, outside of no sacks or 1 sack, it was nice to watch the defense play with a little attitude today. And I saw that as well, especially in that secondary. That's like you said earlier. If there's one thing I came away impressed with today, it was the secondary on that defense.
And 1, it's attitude. 2, when you have attitude, it's confidence. And the fact that these freshmen have confidence in themselves already, I think speaks a lot to the coaching. Yep. And like we said, Akron, Rutgers, it doesn't matter who it is. If these freshmen and true freshmen or redshirt freshmen and true freshmen are getting confidence,
Yep.
it's only going to be good things going forward.
Dale Milano weighing in on the game. They played tougher. Rutgers gave Michigan fits in the big house. This team might be tired of hearing fans come down on them. It was time to wake up and play pissed. And yeah, I would say the secondary did at least. And good. Let them get mad at us for questioning them if they need that motivation. That's fine. Whatever it takes, use it to motivate you, use it to make you better, use it to get better. And if that's part of the formula to make this defense better that they need for whatever reason, to read, they always say, well, we tune out the outside noise. No, they don't. They look at Twitter. They look at Instagram.
Absolutely, yes.
They look at every social media outlet. Oh, that guy said this guy said that. They're doubting us here. Hey, fine. If I'm Ryan Day, man, I funnel that stuff into them somehow and let them get all ticked off.
Yeah, and it's cliche, but haters give you motivation.
Yes.
We're all human, whether you're an athlete or not. We're all human. So if you see doubters, we're a lot of us are Browns fans. Baker Mayfield has used that doubting part of his career to fuel his entire career.
Right.
He even wears hoodies that say "walk on" him. He just uses that hate and, I guess, doubt as motivation. And if these freshmen and true freshmen need motivation, hey, it's working. It's clearly working because they've had one hell of the last 2 games.
Yeah. One thing I want to ask you about that is kind of Buckeye related maybe, but not directly. I haven't watched the entire game yet, but I taped last night on ESPN2, the Medina Bees at Mentor on national TV, Spotlight Game of the Week. Medina, number 1 ranked team in Northeast Ohio in Division I, Region 1. Drew Aller, the quarterback for the Bees, has committed to Penn State. He'll be part of this year's class 2022. 5 touchdowns last night, 4 passing, 1 rushing. They beat Mentor for the first time in school history. Granted, Mentor was a little banged up in that, and Brunswick beat him the week before, but still, you beat somebody you had never beaten before. So I'm going to watch that game a little bit later tonight. Give me your thoughts. You've seen him now for a number of years. How good is Drew Aller? And Michael Regai told me that he might be getting some phone calls from people down in Columbus now to try and flip him. Have you heard anything along those lines?
So first and foremost, for anyone that watched the game or will watch the game like Kenny, I'm sorry that you got a zoomed in shot of my big, ugly mug. I apologize in advance. Secondly,
you know what I'll do? I haven't watched it yet, so when I see it, I'll go, look, there's Pookie. Pookie, I know him.
It's bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, why do you have to do that, camera person? I was talking to Drew's mom, Mrs. Dawn Aller. She's a team photographer, and I guess they were doing a profile on her, and it was just, oh my god. I was like, oh my.
Look at you getting some.
You don't need this. You don't need this on national TV. Secondly, Drew is very, 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 very good. Penn State got a good one.
That's
that was
5
a lot of very good. Was it?
So he's a 4-star candidate and a 5 very good
he should
candidate. Yeah.
Hot take or not, he should be a 5-star.
Okay.
He will likely be Mr. Ohio in football.
Okay.
Division
First
1.
Time ever in Medina football history, right?
Oh yeah. Yes. And Medina's 7-0. He's a huge. Their team's good, but he's a huge reason why. What else Ohio State's been knocking on that door ever since Quinn Ewers reclassified. So that was like 2 weeks before the season. Because you try to get a quarterback in every class, and when Quinn Ewers reclassified, it opened up the slot for the 2022 quarterback. The problem was that Penn State had been recruiting and offered Drew since last spring, and he committed. That was his first big time offer. It was like Iowa State and Penn State, and right when Penn State offered, it was like within a week or 2 he committed. And Torrey Dennis, Ohio State's quarterback coach, he came to the Medina game 3 or 4 weeks ago. And that was a Friday. The following Monday, Ohio State offered him. It will never be made public because Drew. Most recruits now, they tweet out they tweet out the offer thing. Right. Drew was already committed. He would never make that public. The only reason he'd make it public is if Ohio State flipped him, which as an Ohio State fan, I wish it would happen. Right. As a Drew Aller fan, I hope it doesn't. Penn State is a perfect opportunity for him. It's the offense that he likes. They have nothing in their quarterback room.
That's the big thing, right? So does he, and I don't know him, Josh, has he been a Buckeye fan his entire life and it would be a dream to go there? Okay, so that's working for the Buckeyes.
That is the only thing that's working for Ohio State at this point.
But if you want to play ASAP, right, and if that quarterback room is empty and you go there next year as a freshman and you get a chance to play as a freshman or maybe at least as a sophomore, junior, and senior, or if you're good enough for 2 years, and then you go to the pros, which, you know, we're all rooting for him to end up there one day, maybe in the NFL, that would be great. So that's the debate right now for him, right? Do I go to an empty quarterback room or do I chase my childhood dream and end up in Columbus where I'm going to have to beat out 3 or 4 other guys?
Exactly. I mean, it's not that he hates competition. I mean, he's a Medina kid, but I will admit he's a great kid. He has a great family. He's not overconfident. He's not cocky. He just dominates on the football field, and that's about it. But and also, before I forget, the NIL, the name, image, likeness, whether he says it or not, plays a part. If he's getting playing time as a freshman at Penn State, he's going to be making however much money. If he's sitting third string quarterback at Ohio State as a freshman, he's not making anything. So I feel like the name, image, likeness. I mean, even last night he gave a shout out to Medina, JoJo's in Medina last night.
Oh, starting
in January. I guess they asked him where he liked to go out after he wins football games, and he said, JoJo's. But starting in January, he's going to be an early enrollee at Penn State. He can start making money off that. And I just feel like being in a crowded quarterback room at Ohio State, whether you're an Ohio State fan or not, it's tough when you can go to Penn State, still be at a big time program. Right. I mean, he went to the whiteout a few weeks ago at Penn State, and when he did that, I was like, there's no shot he's flipping to Ohio State. You can't go to that atmosphere already committed. And as a background, Penn State has the highest rated recruiting class in 2022 right now, and their 2 best kids are both from Ohio. One's Caden Sanders, he's a receiver from Columbus, and him and Drew have a very good relationship because they're 2 Ohio kids that are now going to Penn State. Well, most likely going to Penn State. I will never rule out Ohio State, but it's not looking good.
So do you think Ohio State is interested in him because of how good he is, or are they going the old Woody Hayes route that will recruit him and get him here to keep him away from our competition?
Both. I think they don't want to get beat by him the next 4 years. Mm-hmm. And so it's like a win-win. If you get him to commit to Ohio State, not only do you have him, but Penn State doesn't have him. So, I mean, it's a win-win. But then, I mean, it's tough because Ohio State was so behind the 8 ball. They didn't start technically recruiting him until he was committed to Penn State. And whether you're an Ohio State kid or not, you're going to take that into account.
All right. So here's what I was told about him, talking to some people that I know in the recruiting area, right? That the reason it was a late recruit by everybody other than Penn State and Iowa State is it the player or is it the offense? They line up with no running backs and it's 1, 2, 3, get rid of the football, right? So they weren't sure how good the kid was because of the offense, that Larry Laird is running there with Medina. Again, you're at every home game, right? You're there for every home game on Friday nights. You've seen him on the road, I'm sure, as well in the playoffs and all that. You tell me, is it the offense that makes the kid or is it the kid that makes the offense?
Part of it is the offense makes the kid. They mainly run 5 wide. But Drew also, I mean, you'll know that when you watch the game, he just has throws that a high school quarterback should not be making. I mean, his footwork, he had one last night, I think, third quarter, he was rolling left, set his feet, threw it in a tight window, touchdown, 35, 40, 45 yards or something like that. It's just, every game, he has throws that make you say, wow, a high school quarterback should not be doing that. And I mean, he's 6'5", he has the size of a quarterback. Like, when you say a prototypical quarterback, he has the size of that. And the 5 wide certainly helps him. He passes probably in like 50 to 60 times a game, unless it's a blowout. But I mean, even during his bad games, yesterday he was all right. He had a couple good throws. He had a couple, because I watched film with the coaches and Drew this morning, and there was a couple like, hey, Drew, you should have done this. And he still had over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, if you're, that's for a high school game, that's a lot. And you can say that he had a few mistakes as well. It's just one of those things where, like, I guess they take it for granted, but then when I don't know, he's just a special talent. It's awesome watching him on Friday night. I've been going to the away games too, just because Drew's a senior. It's one of the best Medina teams Medina will ever have.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. It's the offense is very fun to watch, and a huge reason for that is Drew.
Looks like he's going to play in the Big Ten either way, so that's good for him and good for Medina, the program, as well as the individual, the family, everybody.
Yeah, I will be a Penn State fan except for when they play Ohio State.
Okay, fair enough.
Like I said, the Allers are great people, and Drew's just a great kid. So
I will have to call my fraternity brother, Greg King. His son is the backup punter. Bradley King is one of the backup punters on the team, and he texts me every once in a while, when they're having the whiteout some photos, or when Pittsburgh drafted Fearmouth, the tight end, last year and everything like that. So I'll keep in touch with Greg to find out how hard James Franklin is making sure he doesn't flip.
Yes, that, and when Pittsburgh, just for the Browns fans, when Pittsburgh drafted the tight end in the second round instead of taking an offensive lineman.
Exactly. Yeah, that trust me, I already told him that. Yeah, I was all over that when that happened. So Drew Aller, if you haven't watched it, look for it on ESPNU or ESPN2. Medina beat Mentor last night. Last thing on that, Josh, do they have a legitimate shot at winning the state championship, you think, this year, or at least getting to the Final Four?
They have St. Ed's in the region. That could be tough, but no one thought Medina could beat St. Ed's last year in the playoffs, and they did. And then they beat Ignatius back-to-back. St. Ed's, I don't know much about Cincinnati schools. I know St. X is very, very good. They always are. It's a private school down there. But public school-wise, yes. But
they may be the best public school in the state in Division I this year, right?
Yes. But St. Ed's and St. X, I mean, I take state rankings in high school as a grain of salt too, because the voters can't watch every game, obviously. But right now, Medina is ranked 3 behind St. Ed's and St. X. So it's hard.
Number 1 in the computer rankings for OSHA. It's Medina, St. Ed's, and Jackson 1, 2, and 3 as far as Region 1, Division I, Region 1. So that means Medina would play as many home games as possible and be the top seed there, where they wouldn't play St. Ed's until they don't, as far down the line as possible.
Yeah, they wouldn't play St. Ed's until the Elite 8, I think it would be, whatever the region. But yeah, I actually like the Ohio's computer ranking. It's cool how they do it. You not only get points for your wins, but you get points for the teams that you beat and the teams that they beat wins. I like that. I like that point system. I wish college football would kind of do that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting there. So there's our Drew Aller story from Medina going to Penn State as of now. We'll keep you posted on any more rumors coming out of Columbus and the Buckeyes trying to grab him for next year, 2022 class, because as Pookie pointed out, Quinn Ewers is part of this year's class, as he's making $1.4 million over the next 3 years to wear a mullet and be the 4th string quarterback for Ohio State. Final thoughts, Josh. Oh, wait, hold on. Adam Cerny watching.
Adam checking back in.
Checking back in. You ready, Josh? I'm going to put it up on the screen. Breaking news, Kenny and Josh. Stanford beats Oregon in overtime. 31-24. The Buckeyes getting some big-time help right there as the Cardinal take care of the Ducks in OT. And if you're a Buckeye fan, you're loving that now, because the debate will be, well, if they both have one loss, Oregon won head-to-head, but at least they have one loss now, right? And if they don't play for it in the Pac-12, right, then you can wipe out Oregon. So that's great news that Notre Dame and Oregon both lost today for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Only hypothetically, the only reason I'm mad is because hypothetically I might have bet on Oregon to win that game, but just hypothetically.
Hypothetically, okay. All right. Final thoughts on the Buckeyes win. We got away from it a little bit there, but the Buckeyes win today, 52-13 over Rutgers, and Maryland is next.
They took care of business. They dominated. The game was over. We could have started this thing midway through the second quarter, and everyone would have tuned in still, because the game was over by that point. But, I mean, they look good. They dominated like they should have. They made it. Rutgers or not, this team's clearly gaining confidence. These young guys are gaining confidence. and Maryland, it should kind of be the same. Not a blowout. I don't see a blowout coming, but they should take care of business next week. And I mean, I told myself 2 weeks ago that I wouldn't get too high on Ohio State, given the opponents. But with these freshmen and true freshmen gaining confidence and developing quickly, I mean, the offense, we know how good this offense can be. When you have Travion Henderson, Chris Olave, and Garrett Wilson, it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is, to be honest. It's just a bonus if he's good like CJ Stroud was today. But yeah, I mean, just take care of business in the Big Ten, and the rest of it will work itself out. And always, always, always bet the over.
Bet the over. There you go. There's some. Ryan Day said Trevion Henderson could have played in the second half, but Day made the decision to hold him out. I didn't want to take a chance. That's on Twitter. I don't know what the injury was, but that's what he said. Do you have any more information on that?
No, but that's good news because that means it wasn't a concussion.
Correct. Very, very good part. Maybe he did get dinged. He passed the concussion protocol, but they didn't want to take any chances with him. CJ Stroud, some quotes from the locker room. Dan Hope on Twitter. My shoulder, I feel like it's getting 100 times better. The rest, it really did help me. You could see that in him throwing the football without question there. And let's see here. What else? Signed a jersey, Trevion Henderson. They sang Carmen, Ohio to all the fans there. The CJ. So that's good news about Trevion Henderson. That's the concerns. I marked that one off my list. Now it's just pass rush and linebacker depth for Ohio State that is a concern heading into next week and the bye week. And maybe by then, you know what? Let's see if I can pull this up because I want to see if they have him listed here. The linebacker. They don't even have him listed here on ESPN's linebacker group.
Who, the USC kid?
Yeah. I'm trying to find the name.
You're gonna make me try to pronounce his name, aren't you?
Yes, I am, Pookie. I want you to pronounce his name. I want to know what the heck.
Oh man, hold on.
What the heck this kid's name is? I don't. Oh, you know why I didn't see him on the linebacker core? I had Penn State's roster up. There you go. That would be smart to see if you can find that. While I give a couple of shout outs to people watching us on the postgame show. David Richardson, thank you. David telling us too that Stanford just beat Oregon in overtime, 31-24. David, thanks for that. Michael S. Woodling is watching us on the Buckeyes postgame show. Michael, go Bucks. Appreciate it very, very much. Did you find the linebacker?
All right, here we
transferred? Go ahead. What is it?
I'm gonna butcher it.
Go ahead.
I'm really hold on. Palaie. I don't.
Palia. Okay.
Palaie. Maybe it's Palaie.
All right, Palaie. We'll go with that. What's the last name?
Gaoteote.
Hold on. Gao. What is it?
Te.
Yeah.
Ote.
Ote. Palaie.
That's all you got it. You got it. Kenny, I have faith in you.
Let's see. Gao. Goat. No, it wouldn't be goat. Goat would be goat. So Gaoteote. Palaie Gaoteote. Is that it?
That sounds perfect.
How about this? We're going to call him PG. We got JTT and PG on the defense. All right.
And Pookie on the podcast.
And there you go. JTT, PG, and Pookie and the Roadman breaking down Ohio State football for you after every Buckeyes game here on the Buckeyes postgame show. All right, Josh, I'll let you go back to the trails of Yellowstone National Park there. Enjoy your trip out into the wilderness. And Monday night, Johnny Malloy's for football. Great game this weekend, right?
Is it? Wait, no, what is Monday? Because Patriots Bucks is Sunday night. I don't know the Monday night game.
Isn't the Monday night game? It's either Chargers Raiders or Rams Raiders, isn't it? I thought that's what it was.
I honestly don't know.
Look,
all I know is if you're in the Medina area, go to Johnny Malloy's. Good food, great people, okay trivia guy.
Yeah, he's all right. Chargers hosting the Raiders. So undefeated
Oh, that
Raiders
should be a good game.
against the Chargers. Yeah, come on up. Great specials. And we got some big news coming for Monday Night Football Trivia with a big-time sponsor going to join us starting not this Monday, but the next Monday that if you come Monday night, you'll find out more about it. So it should be a lot of fun there.
Rumor has it Kenny signed an NIL deal for $1 million with this sponsor. So congrats.
Right. Yeah, okay, that's what it is.
No,
I wish I could do that.
Yeah, exactly. But seriously, good win.
Yes.
They took care of business, and that's all you can ask for.
All right, Pookie, I'll see you Monday night at Johnny Malloy's in Medina, all right?
Oh, man.
You're never going to live that down.
But hey, go Bucks. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks and go Bees. Very good. There he is, Pookie Paloha, joining us here on the Buckeyes postgame show out in the wilderness. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Buckeyes postgame show. Ohio State gets the win. Next up, October 9th at home against Maryland. 12 noon kickoff. You can hear that one on News Talk 1480 WHBC. And we'll be talking more about this win on the Kenny and JT show on Monday from 3 to 7. Tune us in online at WHBC.com. 1480 AM. If you're in the Canton area, you can listen to us or on your phone. Pull it up on your phone, plug it into your auxiliary outlet in your car while you're driving around. Kenny and JT show Monday through Friday, 3 to 7, News Talk 1480 WHBC. And then we'll do this all over again next week after the win over Maryland. I'm confident they'll beat them. And we'll do this tomorrow after the Browns Minnesota game with the Browns post-game show here on Facebook. So have a great rest of your Saturday night. Congratulations to the Buckeyes. Big win today over Rutgers. We feel a little bit better about them, and we'll see what happens next week against Maryland. All right, everybody. Have a great Saturday. See you. Bye.